Hi there, I am Yolandi Raad and I am the founder of Data Connects. I'm excited to tell you more about the cloud today. I hope you enjoy this video. Welcome to Demystifying the Cloud. Most of us interact with the cloud in business and in our personal lives on a daily basis. In this session, I'll take you on a journey to understand the cloud better. What is the cloud? There are so many buzzwords, it makes your head spin. We say things like, the cloud is everywhere, or the cloud never forgets. There are many ways to describe the cloud, but here I offer my simple definitions. Cloud is a metaphor for the internet. The cloud is where servers, electronic content, that means data, and applications are made available over the internet. The cloud offers computing resources that are not owned or physically accessed by the user. That brings us to the next questions of who and where. Who owns the cloud? And where, if anywhere, is the cloud? Where does my data live? Can I control the cloud? What is public cloud and personal cloud? To understand the cloud better, let's take a step back and consider the traditional approach of how we interact with applications and data. In a traditional setup, you have your computer. You purchase and install a piece of software on your PC. And as you interact with that software, your content, your data, is stored on your computer on the hard disk. You wisely back up your data because Windows. So depending on the year, you either have a CD, USB drive, or external hard drive at hand that you connect to your PC to back up your data. So even though the world of technology is changing so fast, this scenario is still relatively common. And many applications used by individuals and businesses still work this way, but likely not for very long. Technology is changing very fast. Is this familiar to anyone? Now let's look at the common cloud scenario for modern systems today. At least you still have your computer, your PC or Mac something, or phone or tablet or iPad, even your watch. You interact with an application, either through a browser or an app. You use a username and a password, a profile, to register this application and access your content in this application. The data, the content, stored by web-based applications are not stored on your computer. It is stored in the cloud. Even the software code for applications reside in the cloud. You do not typically install huge software packages on your computer anymore. The application and your content, your data, is accessible on any device. Is this familiar to anyone? Consider Microsoft Office, for example. Office, Excel, and Word used to be huge installs on your local machine, and your data is stored on your computer. With Microsoft 365, it is subscription-based and cloud-based. Even though you may choose to install the local desktop applications, you don't have to. You can choose to use web-based only Office products in your browser. And your data is in the cloud by default. It is not stored on your local computer only, even though it may be stored on your computer depending on your setting. Is anyone here familiar with QuickBooks? It's the same trend. QuickBooks used to be desktop software with your data stored on your local machine. But QuickBooks Online is a subscription-based and cloud-based product, and your data is in the cloud by default. You can access your QuickBooks account from anywhere, from any device, and access all your information. Why is this the trend? Why is everything moving to the cloud? Collaboration. The cloud makes it possible for team members to efficiently collaborate on projects. A document that is stored in the cloud is the single source of truth. Team members can be sure to always view the same version of a document and can make use of tools to edit a document at the same time. Mobility is another reason. The cloud makes it possible for one person to work on many devices and always have access to the latest version of the data. For example, you can work on a document on your PC in your office, stop, drive home, do live, and complete the work on that same document on your phone. There is no need to first send the document to other devices by email or to carry around a USB flash drive anymore. Not that a flash drive would help for working on a phone anyway. So the ability to collaborate and enjoy seamless mobility are game changers for businesses today. And a remarkable level of efficiency and productivity can be achieved in a surprisingly affordable manner by making use of great cloud collaboration applications and tools that are available today. If you are interested to hear more about this topic, or you would like me to help you with strategy for implementation, let's have a conversation. There are more advantages to the cloud. Software on the cloud is typically a subscription-based model, which makes it cost-effective, and you only pay if you want to use it. There are no huge upfront investments. For software companies, the cloud simplifies the software development lifecycle and ensures that all customers have the same version of an application. That leads to more and faster innovation. Companies can leverage great features and services offered by cloud providers that would otherwise take long and be expensive to develop. As an example, for a software company, it makes more sense to make use of an existing cloud service to authenticate users than to develop the authentication code base themselves. That also makes it safer and more secure for users. And lastly, data that is in the cloud is already well positioned for analytics and machine learning. By machine learning, I do not mean robots serving you dinner. Well, at least not in this case. But things like product recommendations to make your online shopping more intuitive, or the ability to run forecasts on your sales figures, those are all the products of machine learning models. And with your data in the cloud and services offered by cloud providers, you have access to these analytics-powered tools. Let's dive further into the cloud and look at the different types of cloud. Have you ever heard the terms public, private, and hybrid cloud? Personal cloud? Spoiler alert, public cloud is the one that most of us interact with. Remember we said earlier that cloud is essentially the internet. Private cloud is when an organization manages their own data centers. Other terms for private cloud are intranet or internal networks. Hybrid cloud is a mix between public and private. If some data storage and computing in an organization take place in their own data centers and some on the public cloud, then the architecture is referred to as hybrid cloud. Let's focus on public cloud. When we talk about cloud, we are referring to public cloud. In the public cloud, a cloud provider owns the data centers and provides customers with ways to access their data in it over the internet. You cannot physically access these data centers. They are highly secured and isolated facilities, and these physical locations are not advertised. The cloud provider provides many tools and services to enable customers to build secure, scalable, reliable, and cost-effective solutions. How is scalability achieved, for instance? If an e-commerce company's website is under pressure due to increased traffic, they can automatically and easily scale up by starting up new servers to share the traffic and shut them down again when the peak is over. It is cost-effective because cloud providers' customers only pay for the resources they use. They don't have to purchase any hardware. They just rent the capacity from the cloud provider. What is personal cloud? Personal cloud is not an official cloud term. Personal cloud really is the public cloud. But we use the term personal cloud when we refer to the ways in which individuals interact with the cloud. When you own an iPhone or Apple device, for example, you have an iCloud account that is linked to an Apple ID, right? That is your personal cloud. Or when you use an application on your personal device that stores data in the cloud, like photos on Google Photos, it can be thought of as your personal cloud. What it really is a little space somewhere in the public cloud that securely holds your content. Now that we know that our data is in the public cloud, let's peek inside the cloud to see what it looks like. A cloud is a collection of cloud services and infrastructure that are offered by a cloud provider. Let's have a look. There are many layers. Some layers are infrastructure, physical hardware, and others are software and services. We will go over these layers in more detail shortly. At this point, it's important to note that a cloud is a collection of layers offered by a cloud provider. And you guessed it, there are many cloud providers. Curious about who the big players are? You probably already have a good idea, but let's look at this very interesting market share. Here are the main cloud providers in the global market, according to a study published by Statista for Q4 2019 and measured by CloudSpend. AWS leads with around 33% market share. AWS is an acronym for Amazon Web Services, and it is Amazon's cloud. Microsoft Azure belongs to Microsoft, of course, and it sits at around 18% market share. Google Cloud comes in third with 8%, and IBM Cloud with 6%. And all the rest, like Oracle, Dell in the US, and Alibaba, which is big in China, contributes to the other 35%. It is interesting, right? Let's have a look at the different layers in a cloud that is offered by cloud providers. That will help us better understand the cloud. The bottom layer is physical infrastructure, data centers. The big cloud providers have many data centers all over the globe. This map is a fair representation of AWS's regions, for example. The cloud works on a shared responsibility model. The cloud provider takes responsibility for security of the cloud. That involves computing hardware, storage disks, infrastructure, building infrastructure security and access controls, power supply, data center facilities, cables, and networking components. The customer is responsible for security in the cloud. That involves customer data, applications, user authentication, and access control. So as far as this bottom layer is concerned, the physical infrastructure, that is completely the responsibility of the cloud provider, and oftentimes the location of these data centers are best kept secrets. But essentially, this is where the content that we store in the cloud comes to rest, in one or more of these data centers owned by one of the major cloud providers in the world. The next two layers will be discussed together. These include technical level services offered by cloud providers, and we call them infrastructure services and platform services. Infrastructure services and platform services are essentially programmatic interfaces or access points to the data and infrastructure. Examples of these tools and services are encryption, different databases, different storage tiers, services to manage user authentication, tools to accelerate software development, tools to manage backups, tools to scale up resources automatically, and disaster recovery. It is cost-effective for IT companies to use these services, as like all things in the cloud, you only pay for what you use. So who works with these layers, these services? Cloud engineers, cloud architects, software developers, and IT technologists. They all make use of these services. For this group of geeks, this is the magic of the cloud. The top layer is called software as a service. These are cloud applications. This layer is the face of the cloud. This is what the end user sees and interacts with. This is the application you use on your phone or PC, the website you log into to access your content. Modern cloud applications provide users a way to access their content in the cloud by way of authentication. That is typically a username and a password, although authentication methods are always evolving. It's typically a subscription-based payment model. And almost always, this involves a web-based application that can be accessed through an internet browser like Chrome. Depending on the software, it can also be locally downloaded applications on your PC or mobile apps for phones and tablets. Who interacts with this layer of the cloud? All of us. Application users, both business and personal end users. Let's look at some cloud applications that are popular today. Some of the more commonly used cloud applications today are Google Drive and Microsoft 365. These applications have both personal or individual and business customers. Popular business productivity cloud software include Intuit products like TurboTax and QuickBooks, CRM systems like Salesforce, and e-commerce solutions like Square. Software providers are increasingly migrating towards cloud-based models. Do you recognize any of these brands? A little earlier, we've talked about the advantages of the cloud. To recap, here are a few of the advantages of running applications in the cloud. These are the reasons we see the world move toward the model called cloud software as a service. Collaboration, mobility, cost efficiency, faster innovation, leveraging the benefits of cloud provider services, and data analytics. Now that we understand that there are many cloud providers, with each cloud having physical infrastructure, layers of developer-level services, and cloud applications, let's turn our attention to content, to data, and have a look at what happens to your data when you interact with applications in the cloud. We start with our cloud provider, consisting of many layers. And a quick detour to remind you that there are more than one cloud provider, and that most cloud applications today are built on one of these major ones. Now, let me introduce you to a cloud user, Peter. Let's say Peter is a small business owner. Peter decides to use a certain cloud application that will help him improve productivity in his business. He signs up, chooses his subscription plan, he signs in, and starts to use the application. He enters content into the application about his business operations and transactions. The application, the software, runs through its code and through the layers of services in the cloud to perform what we can only call the app magic. The content that Peter provides gets processed and transformed into data and saved to a database in the cloud. The app does what Peter paid for and provides fantastic feedback to him about the state of his business. It's a delightful sight, modern and colorful dashboards, buttons, and reports. Peter is really happy with this system. So once it's in the cloud, what happens to the data? Data is stored with a cloud provider, probably one of the big five. End users do not know exactly where the data comes to rest. And software companies, the cloud application companies, are not required to disclose where the data is stored or which cloud provider they use. But sometimes it is interesting to know. For example, did you know if you store your data in the iCloud, Apple, then it's likely that it ends up in an Amazon data center? And if you use QuickBooks, your data is probably stored on AWS, Amazon, and when you use PayPal, it's most likely in the Google Cloud. Another interesting snippet of information is that Dropbox, Facebook, and MailChimp mostly make use of their own data centers. But now that we know how data is handled when we, Peter, use cloud applications, let's consider the data management implications. You remain the owner of your content. It doesn't matter where or how or through which application your data is stored, you always remain the owner of that data. You only have access to your content through the application. In the picture above, there is no direct line from Peter to his data. You cannot access your data outside the context of the application. That means that if your access to the cloud application is compromised, you lose access to your data. If your subscription to a product, an application ends for any reason, and if you cannot log in anymore, or your account gets suspended for any reason, there is a chance that you may never be able to access your data, your content contained in that application. You may lose your data forever, and that is important to realize. That is risk. Cloud applications are essential tools to facilitate business productivity, but when it comes to your data, there is that risk. How do you manage that risk? You have a backup plan for trust. It's important to know that this level of risk will look different for every business. It depends on many factors, like the cloud applications currently in use and the data management strategies that might already be in place. For example, if you are using Microsoft 365, which is itself a collection of cloud applications, your risk may not be that high. Microsoft 365 for Business has great compliance, security, and replication tools that you can customize for your business to minimize your risk of data loss. And Microsoft is, of course, also a tech giant. So we might conclude that it's fairly safe to entrust your data to Microsoft. But if you're using other applications that are owned by smaller cloud companies, it would be wise to measure and manage that risk. Have a backup plan for trust. If you feel uneasy about your risk today, or you would like to know more about strategies to manage that risk, reach out to me. I have another video series that specifically deals with data management strategies to reduce the risk of losing access to your data in cloud applications. In that series, I discuss a simple data management strategy for small to medium businesses that will reduce the risk of losing access to your data. It will position you to maintain control over your data, and it will further position you and your business to unlock the full potential of your data. Your data is an asset, and with well-positioned data, you will be able to unlock insights into your business operations and into your customers through powerful analytics that go beyond the scope of the applications that you use. Reach out to me if you are interested to hear more. One of the things I like to do is help small businesses with strategies to maximize collaboration and mobility in the cloud. Are you frustrated by your current processes of sharing files and information among team members? Does your productivity suffer because documents and conversations often get lost in a swamp of emails? If you are ready to take your business productivity and staff and team communication and collaboration to the next level, reach out to me. And also, if you would like to know more about Microsoft Teams, a very popular and powerful team collaboration and video conferencing application, I would like to have a conversation with you. Does your business currently use Microsoft 365 or considering the switch? I also assist customers and help them with collaboration within Microsoft 365 specifically. Are you or members of your team confused about OneDrive for Business, SharePoint, and Microsoft Teams? It's possible to achieve powerful and efficient collaboration, but many times people have not been trained well on how these services work, and that causes frustration and greatly puts the security of data and files at risk. Reach out to me to maximize your use of Microsoft 365. And then last but not least, another presentation that I will roll out soon will be specifically geared towards individuals. I will help you with strategies to make good data management decisions when interacting with the cloud from personal devices and accounts. We'll talk about iCloud, Google Drive, Amazon Drive, OneDrive, and how to make optimal use of these cloud services at the lowest cost possible for all your documents, backups, and photos. Stay tuned for more information. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation and that the cloud feels a little less mysterious. If you are curious about anything we spoke about today, or feel that you need strategies for data risk management or collaboration, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Visit my website at dataconnects.com or reach out to me on email. I love to help customers grow and achieve greater productivity by providing guidance and solutions in the areas of data analytics, cloud consulting, and data management. And remember, the first consultation is always free. Thank you for your time.